Good morning. Welcome to Speaking of Animals. I'm Amy Cartenuto from Flagler Humane Society. I've got some amazing guests today. We have my good friend Kate McFall from Humane World for Animals, formerly known as Humane Society United States. How long do we have to keep saying formerly known as, Kate?
I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. I hadn't thought about it.
And we also have Greg Gailey, who's here with a really cool story, and he's one of our volunteers. He helps us with a lot of fundraisers and such, and he's got a really cool story because Kate, the topic that we're going to be talking about today is a little heavy. So Greg's going to come in after that and just save the day. Uh, so, um, so Kate, the Florida Wildlife Commission has, from what I understand, more power than any other wildlife commission in the country.
Correct.
And they are looking at some trapping regulations, nuisance trapping regulations, some changes. And we just want to make sure those changes are for the better. And I'd like folks to hear about what's going on so that they can be informed and maybe help us help the animals, maybe be a little bit vocal in a nice way.
Always. Yes.
Yes.
There's
And
huge opportunity.
so give us a little bit of background as to
Okay.
what's going on when people call in to a nuisance wildlife trapper. What really happens?
Well, not what people think.
No.
And so just to clarify, the changes that the FWC is considering are for all trapping. We know a big majority of this is nuisance trapping. Most people think that, they're taking the animal to the farm in Georgia or up in North Florida. No, that's not the case. They can kill the animal there. Most trappers prefer to take the animal off site, and there's some regulations where they're not permitted to do so, but the animal's 9 times out of 10 killed there or off site. So when people think, oh, yes, I'll call a trapper, unfortunately, that they're not thinking. I mean, first of all, we have to live together, right? We have to coexist. If there's a problem, it's usually the humans' concern. There's an attractant, trash, cat food, bird seed, whatever it may be, that can be fixed. And so I always suggest call a humane wildlife specialist, humane trapper, and start there. Absolutely, because what's happening to the animal is usually cruel, and they usually die, which is, most people don't want that and don't even realize that's happening.
Right.
Yep.
I,
So
it's probably a whole other show, but when you say call a humane trapper, they probably all tout themselves as that. So is there a way that is there any sort of something to really for them to prove when they do, if some, like you say, most people don't want the animal killed. So is there something that people can check on to see, like, what is the trapper really doing with the animal? Because I think, like you say, in a lot of cases, people are led to believe, oh, this animal's going to be released in a nice, farm in the country.
Yeah, it's not, and exactly, and I even so, and some animals, are not supposed to be. There's certain restrictions where they have to be released, and they're specific. But it's 9 times out of 10 it's not happening. But there's Animal Help Now. There's 411 Wildlife. But just do a little digging, and they can always find a humane wildlife person that's maybe not in their area, but they will know of someone closer to them. If this person is far away, they know each other because this is what they do. And honestly, it's a growing field, the humane side of things. Not killing the animal, not harming the animal, and sometimes they don't even trap them. They, have different methods to make the animal leave on their own, or educate the homeowner that, well, you're attracting this animal. Let's work on your behavior, nicely. So there's a whole host of things, and it's a really growing field because people care, and they want, they don't want the animal to be harmed. And again, that is the case currently, and the public doesn't even know it.
Yes.
So.
And when you say trap, we would like to think we're talking about, a little cage where the door shuts behind them. But that's what traps.
No.
Yeah. Tell us more about what traps are truly being used in Florida.
Well, there's a lot, and it's a little complicated on one hand, but on the other hand, it's there's snares that are being used, and currently they're so back in 1972, this commission outlawed steel leg hold, foothold traps, the steel traps, the body crushing or body gripping. There's several different names. They outlawed them, and really at the request from the dog hunters, because some of their hunting dogs were getting caught in the traps. So good for them. That was 50 years ago, over 50 years ago. So they said no more of that. However, then they came back, because some people really, specifically, and they said, okay, well, you can use these in specific situations with a special use permit from the FWC, which, okay, so they have to go to the FWC, tell them why they need this trap, and they have a special permit. So that's at least some oversight. It needs to be strengthened and fortified, but it's something. And the concern with current proposed changes, so I'm a member of the TAG, the Technical Assistance Group through the FWC. There's about 25 of us on there. And what's currently being proposed is to remove that special use permit. So these traps would not only, the steel traps, which are really, really harmful. I mean, harmful is delicate. They're cruel and inhumane and barbaric, really, and antiquated. And they would be allowed, with some training, like watching a training video, the public would be allowed to use them. And that's a huge concern, because the public has no idea how. I mean, so right now the public cannot use them. They have to go through the FWC, as I just described. So in this proposed change, the public would be allowed to, and that's with a training video, and that's, very concerning. They're going to improve the traps slightly, put a piece of rubber on it, and so that they would call that padded. And then also there would be a slightly smaller enclosure to prohibit larger animals, but still then there's the juveniles and so many other critters and pets. With all these people everywhere, I mean, the human population is 3 times what it was then. That's a concern too. There's not all these as many wild areas. So pets, people, who knows? It's not the right thing for Florida. We want them to keep this special use permit requirement for these very harmful traps and add snares, because even the staff said way back in 1972 they should have included snares, lethal snares, on that list that would require this special use permit. And there's some good things in the proposed changes too, and one of them is getting rid of snares that would use cable restraints, which are like a tiny bit better. They're just like snares though. So there's some improvements to the trap. They're minimal. They're very minimal. But there's some other improvements, like currently trappers can use live bait. So they can have a big trap, and within that big trap, a chicken or a rabbit in a smaller cage to bait the target animal. So that's live bait. I mean, it's terrifying and harmful for that animal who's being used as bait. So in the proposed changes, they would say no more live bait. The trappers really push back on that, which tells us they use live bait quite often, which most people don't know. They would prohibit the outside use of glue traps. That would be a very good change. We'd like to see no glue traps. They are of the cruelest. The animal struggles for days and days. I mean, there really aren't words to describe that. So that would be, the glue traps would be prohibited in these proposed changes, and there'd be some training and reporting requirements for the trappers. So those are some of the good things, and there's a few others. So we applaud those things. And there would be much more training required of the industry. There'd be a permit for the industry, which now has none. We'd like for there to be a fee, just like you get a hunting license, you have to pay a fee, or a fishing license. But that's one of the talking points. We'd like to see them go further, but there are some good changes, and we're pleased for that. But the removing the special use permit and expanding the use of these horribly cruel traps is shocking, really, and most Floridians would be horrified.
Yeah, I mean, I think most people do feel like leg hold traps aren't legal, even though they are, like you say, with the special use permit now. People would be amazed to see what really goes on. Like, I was looking for photos to go with the article about it, and like, there's no way you can post a picture of an animal in these traps. It's just horrific to look at, and
that tells you something right there.
Yeah, they chew their feet off, and
they do.
So the meeting about these proposed regulation changes is November 6th down in
Yes.
Belglade, which
First,
is,
yeah,
I think
right.
it's like 3.5 hours south of Flagler County, three and a half,
That's
four
not that
hours. It's
far.
not
It's
that
not that
far.
far, farther from me. But it's
So,
it's a little bit of a funny location, but it's in Belglade. First thing in the morning, first thing on the agenda, and we need people to come. We know a lot of the trappers are going to be there. They're pushing back on the glue traps, on the live bait, many of these things, um, and supporting some of the things we don't. But we always want people to be polite, respectful, like you
for
said
sure.
earlier. It's just I say it's a no-brainer. It's kind of a given, but people aren't always, and that just hurts the cause. So we always want people to be respectful, and the commissioners, they sometimes make the right decision in our opinion, sometimes not, but either way, they're going to listen to you if you are respectful. So
Yes.
we
Yes.
hope people will come and speak up for wildlife, for common sense, reasonable protection of our wildlife, and
Yes.
certainly
Yes.
not going back in time to these antiquated, barbaric
Right.
devices that
Right.
are horrifying.
So what's the best way to reach you? Because I think you, to me, you're the expert on this. If somebody is willing to come down, or at least maybe write, send an email to the commission, what's the best
Sure.
way to reach you so that
I
you can
mean,
guide them?
yeah. Well, thank you. My email, which you have, or it's kmacfall@humaneworld.org. Um, kmacfall@humaneworld.org, or they can reach out to you and you can put
And
them in
I'll,
touch with me.
yes,
Yeah,
I would,
would love to help, assist,
yes,
support in any way, shape, or form if somebody's willing
yes.
to come and speak up for wildlife.
Yes, time is of the essence. So get in touch with
Yes.
either Kate or me, and we will help put you through. So, well, Kate, I have to take a break, and I know you have to get back to work. So thank you
Yes.
so much for this information. It's
Thank
some of it.
you.
It's hard to hear, I know, but we
Yeah.
need to help. We need to help. So
Yes. And thank you, Amy. I appreciate your focus on this and your time. So
thank
thank you so
you.
much.
All righty, take
All
care.
right.
We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. We're back to speaking of animals. So, okay, I know the last segment was a little heavy, but now we're going to turn it around and we're going to have a beautiful story from Greg Gailey, who is a volunteer at the Humane Society, and then we also have a third guest, like so many. We have a third guest here. Legend is kind of camera shy. She's got her backside to the camera, but Legend is a beautiful black kind of pity mix. She's 8 years old. Her owner passed away, so she's at the shelter looking for a new home. She walks super nice on a leash. She rides well in a car. She's just kind of an easygoing, just one of those easy dogs. So she's here doing the show with us. But so Greg, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks for being here. And you've got a really cool story that you were a part of a few years ago at the shelter. And I don't know what we were talking about lately, but it kind of got brought back up. And I was like, I think people would love to hear this story. So,
It is a great story. You have so many wonderful people that work for you at the shelter, and I think about 3 years ago, I got a call from one of the girls at the front desk named Christy, who I happen to know fairly well. She's like, "What are you doing?" I go, "Well, I go, what do you need me to do?" She says, "Well, I just got off the phone with a lady from Rhode Island. She's very upset. They had been in St. Augustine on vacation about a month prior to the phone call that I received, and they had brought their three-legged cat with them for vacation. His name was Orion. The day before that they got ready to leave, he got out. Well, the boys were with him. I think they were probably 8 and 10, maybe 9 and 11. The husband had to go back to Rhode Island, and the wife and the kids stayed an entire another week trying to find Orion. Well, a month from about that time, when they had to go back, Christy called me, and the lady was on the phone. She goes, "I think my cat is in Palm Coast. There's not that many three-legged cats around." He was at another rescue facility, and we were trying to get the owner and that individual from the rescue facility hooked up together because there was going to be a transport going to New York the next day. And if indeed this was their cat Orion, it was like, hey, that's perfect timing. Anyway, things didn't work out for whatever reasons. And Christy says, go over and pick up the cat. Okay, fine. So Ryan comes to our house. Christy comes home from work. We obviously had the phone number for the folks in Rhode Island. Indeed, it was their cat. And we did FaceTime with them. Orion, the boys were crying, they were yelling. It was this really cool thing. And they're like, well, how do we get our cat back? And I go, well, what are you guys doing tomorrow afternoon? And they're like, well, like, why? I said, well, I'm going to get on a plane and fly him up. They're going, you're what? I go, well, Christy and I were retired from the airlines. I can fly for free. So, with the help of you, getting some paperwork done so Orion could travel, we showed up at the Daytona airport the next morning. Orion's in tow with me. We took a few pictures. I went from Daytona to Charlotte, and while I had a little wait time there, the agent wanted to know what I was doing. I said, well, here's the story. She goes, that is so cool. She goes, I think you and Orion deserve a first class seat. So Orion's first plane flight, he got to sit in first class.
Pretty
And
good.
prior to landing, unbeknownst to me, apparently the agent had told the captain about the story, what was going on with the cat. I was taking it home. He makes a PA. Usually the PA, 10 minutes before landing is, we're getting ready to land, blah, 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 do all the things you need to do. And he said, sometimes traveling stories are not good. We have delays, you got weather, people are not happy. But he said, today, we got a special story. One of our retired 20-year flight attendants is on the plane with a special guest, and his name is Orion. He has 3 legs, and he pretty much signifies the old Yeller story. Little cat with 3 legs went from St. Augustine down to Palm Coast. It took him about probably a month. And Greg is going to reunite the cat with the owners at baggage claim. And if anybody would like to come down and see this, it'll be a special deal. So I'm thinking, okay, fine, there's a few folks going to show up. We go down there, all of the crew, pilots, flight attendants, and every single passenger on the plane went down to the baggage claim to see the reunion of Orion with his with his boys and his family. And it was truly one of those touching things that it wasn't about me at all, but I just took one
You
day.
got to bask in the glory.
Well, I took one day
So
out of my
cool.
life to make a change for the cat. And the folk, we obviously hadn't met them, the owners, the mom and daddy's like, can I give you money? I'm going, no, I don't want any money. He says, well, what can we do? I go, well, you give me a ride to the hotel so I can spend the night, go back home. But I have, and about 2 weeks later, it was a wonderful event. And about 2 weeks later, we got this package in the mail from Rhode Island. And what they had done, they put together a picture book of Orion's journey and sent it to us as a keepsake.
Oh, that's so awesome. I love it. That's really, I mean, obviously for you to do that is amazing, but it is kind of cool that, for the pilot to, give you a shout out, and then everybody to come to baggage claim and cheer you guys on. I want, for those folks that watch this on YouTube, when we get back from the commercial, I want to show that. So that's really cool. So thank you for coming and telling that, but we're going to talk a little bit more when we come back from this break.
Okay.
We're back. So Greg, you're going to show the picture of Orion for anybody that's watching us on YouTube.
This is Orion, little 3-legged kitty. Oh, by the way, what an awesome special name that the kids named him. Obviously 3 legs after the star. And
And then
this
when you guys got to the airport, the welcome.
that's part of the welcome. That's a sign that they had made us. And this was the book that the kids sent us. So it's one of those nice keepsakes. And Orion's back home, and everybody's all good.
That's so cool. Well, thank you for doing that for that family. That's cool. That's let's see. I thought it would be a good story for everybody to hear. Another thing that you do for us is you're one of the folks on our golf tournament committee, and you guys are doing a lot of planning, and we're going to have an amazing golf tournament this year. December 1st, right?
Correct. It's going to be December 1st. My opinion, I think this is going to be the best ones we have this year. We have three title sponsors. First off, it is December 1st. It's going to be at Grand Haven Golf Club, beautiful private club. They have actually done a tremendous amount of work at the golf course, redid some of the holes. I'm excited to go play. And one of our title sponsors this year is Landmark Realty. Good friends of mine, Jeff and Debbie. They are going to do a cocktail party for participants and sponsors at their office on A1A, just a little bit north of Golden Lion, on Sunday the 30th from 4 to 6. And then our tournament will be that Monday morning. And anybody would like to register, we still have openings. Put your foursome together. It's putt for FOR, putt4paws.org. You can go register there and come on out. It's a great time. Nice breakfast. The lunch is phenomenal. We have just tremendous amount of prizes, and it's obviously for a great cause.
Yes, yeah, and we have a lot of amazing sponsors. Our big sponsors are Alliance Financial, Flagler, Chrysler, Dodge, and then your friends at Landmark Realty, and a lot of other sponsors too. A lot of, it's definitely a great event. So, thanks for being on the committee to
Of course.
get that going. And definitely, we want to thank our guests today, Kate McFall, Greg Gailey, and of course, Legend. So, and make sure come see Legend at the shelter. Super sweet girl. Like I said, she's 8 years old, house trained, rides well in the car, walks well on a leash. Loves everybody. Not a big fan of cats, I don't think, but other than that, she's perfect. So, so come see Legend. Well, thank you everybody for listening. Thanks for being here, Greg. Thanks for being on the phone, Kate, and we will see you next week.